You are listening to Match Betting Insights, brought to you by OddsMonkey. This and all our podcasts are available via our official podcast provider, Podbean, and all top podcast providers, including iTunes, Acast, and TuneIn. Over the coming weeks and months, we're going to be covering all aspects of match betting. We'll hopefully become a new piece of the jigsaw in your match betting life. Today's podcast is a Cheltenham special, looking ahead to the biggest week in match betting, and hopefully give you a few pointers in the right direction. So thanks for joining us again today. We're delighted to have you on board. And if you haven't got a chance to try out OddsMonkey's premium service yet, we've got a great little offer for you here. A sign-up code PODOFFER, PODOFFER. That gets you 10 full days of OddsMonkey's premium service for just £1. Gives you access to all the guides, the offers, the tools, everything you'll need to be a successful match better. So on to today's episode. As I said, it is a Cheltenham special, and I'm delighted to be joined once again by Steve T from OddsMonkey.
Hello, Graham.
And we're delighted to welcome back Phil from Tricky Bet. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning.
So, as I said, guys, we're on the verge of Cheltenham, the Equine Olympics, and very much match betting cup final for many people. Also, just want to touch thanks on everyone who's been in touch via the forum. We got a thread going asking for questions, etc., from everyone. And we're delighted to actually start this whole podcast with a question from Shadow Faith in there. Phil State, he says, how does someone new to horse racing, match betting, prepare for Cheltenham? A couple of tips, guys. Steve, where would you start?
Yeah, a few basics, really. I mean, when the offers start appearing, which they will do over the next sort of week, I'd get a pen and paper or, a spreadsheet online, whatever it is, and just make a note of the bookmakers and offers that you are going to sort of attack, the ones that you're going to sort of get ready for. And then a nice little tip is if you know that you're going to be doing offers at Paddy Power and you know what their maximum stake is, then you know how much money you need in your Paddy Power account to get started. So prior to the day of sort of Cheltenham beginning, you should get your bookmaker accounts funded so that come the day, you're not having to sort of faff around and deposit money. You're just ready to sort of hit the ground running. So a little bit of preparation, find out which ones you want to do and get yourself in a position to do them straight away. And then you can use your time to do more offers on the day.
Now, say, Phil, obviously we'll be going to a few offers later and we'll emphasise on reading the offers, etc., etc. But for a newbie, some people presume that you need loads of monitors, loads of computers, everything to do this. But nowadays, such as technology, you can cover Cheltenham using the OddsMonkey app and the Betfair app, couldn't you, really, if you wanted to?
You could, yeah. I mean, it's definitely going to be easier for horses to use your laptop, but the OddsMonkey app is available and it has the odds matcher on there. But my tip for preparing for Cheltenham, if you are new, is to look at the offers that are on horses now, and if you're not familiar with them, make yourself familiar with them. So, in particular, one of the more complicated ones is the Bet365 offer. That's on every day, so you can go and look at that now. And learn how to do it, learn how it works, because with that one you need to be betting. If you hit a winner, you need to place a bet on the next race. So it is time sensitive. Some of the other ones are just simple back and layers. So just make yourself aware of the different types of offers. Make sure you understand how to do them. And if you're not comfortable with them, see if you can learn them before Cheltenham, because some of them might be really profitable.
And that is the thing, guys, isn't it? We do say this is the biggest match betting week of the year, which it is. But obviously, it's beginners beware slightly. And just whilst we're on the subject, myself and Steve T will be presenting a webinar for beginners prior to Cheltenham Festival on the Monday before, I think it is, isn't it, Steve? And there'll be a special Cheltenham Q&A there. So this podcast, yeah, everyone's welcome, but it is for those who are slightly more advanced than beginners. But don't worry, the beginners, if you really need some help, we'll be there the Monday before Cheltenham with a free webinar. Just log on to the website and there'll be a sign-up page there for you to sign up, and it's a free webinar. You get to listen to Steve. He tells you how to do everything, and there's a special Cheltenham Q&A at the end. But back to today's podcast, I say, guys, the biggest one of the year. It's big, isn't it? Because there's lots and lots of offers. And Phil, like, where do you start? It's obviously the daily offers page, and I said it was a brilliant tip from you there, saying you have to get used to these offers. You have to be prepared. You have to obviously be prepared, don't you? Because there's so many offers available on the day. You need to know where you're going to start, don't you?
Yeah, well, you make a good point about the daily offer calendar. So generally in the daily offer calendar, we're just going to have one place there that's going to be the horse racing offers for that day, and that is going to lead you through to the community section for horse racing, and we will have a thread in the community for obviously the first day will be Tuesday, so we'll have the Tuesday's Cheltenham offers. All the offers will be in that one thread. So that is the place you need to find them. You'll find strategies for them in there, and obviously links to the bookmakers, etc. So that is where you need to go to find them. And don't forget about the racing matcher as well. You can use the odds matcher, of course, but we do have the specialized racing matcher tool, which breaks these offers down into their own sections on the tool, which makes it a lot easier.
And I say, Phil's mentioned there about the tools, guys. Everyone's listening. That offer we said at the start, pod offer, and we'll tell you again at the end. You can get the premium service. All this is available through the premium service. And the community forum there is a brilliant tool as well, isn't it, Steve? Any issue you've got during Cheltenham or any time, there'll be someone on the forum with the same problem, won't there? So you won't take you long to find out an answer to any issue you've got.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you run into any difficulties, if you post in the appropriate thread for that particular offer, and you can always, well, first of all, have a read through the thread, because as you rightly just mentioned, somebody has probably already had the same query / issue problem, and will have been sort of resolved. So you can get your answer sort of the quickest way of doing that. Or you can tag support staff in, just do an @ symbol and start typing support, and support staff will come up, and that'll ping a notice to the staff that are on duty that day, and they'll sort of come to your rescue and help you clear up any issues. But the community is a really, really good resource, both in terms of knowing what offers are on and exactly how to do them. And if you do accidentally place the bet in the wrong way and you need a bit of help, you'll be able to get out of any sort of pickles from there as well.
Yeah, so guys, obviously, and the daily offer page is there, and there'll be threads on the forum telling you what to do. But to see the wood from the trees, it is broken down, isn't it? But we're going to discuss a few of the offers now you can expect to see. And there's different tactics in the guy. Everyone's got their own way of doing things, but generally when it comes to Cheltenham and the festival, there's always an offer. We know Sky Bet is already on there. I think, Phil, you'll talk about that in a minute, where you got to decide who you're going to tackle, whether you're going to do the big offers or day by day, race by race, Phil. And a good place to start is normally these Sky Bet offer, isn't it? Because that's the opening race, isn't it? It's a good place to start.
Yeah, so a lot of the offers might focus on the first race of the day, try and entice you into betting for the rest of the day. Sky Bet offers a good example. It is money back as cash if you lose, I believe, £10. Always, I mean, when you go on the community thread, they're generally ordered in the order we think you should be doing them anyway. So focus on the ones at the top. So Sky Bet's probably going to be right up there. You know, it's just back late. If your horse loses, you're going to get your money back as cash. So you can lock in a lot of money on that.
And that's not a bad one for beginners, is it, Steve, as well, the Sky Bet one?
Yeah, I mean, the Sky Bet one, very simple, straightforward. A lot of the offers, if we break them down into what they actually are pretty straightforward, because if you're doing match betting, you already know how to back and to lay, and the vast majority of offers will fall into that category. You know, the things you need to be mindful of, like Phil mentioned about Bet365, if you do place a bet on a horse and it wins, then you need to place a bet on the next race. So you need to be on the ball with that. However, a lot of the offers that should start popping up over the next week will be things, you know, I imagine Betfred will be, if you bet 10, possibly £20 on a race and your horse finishes second or third, you get your money back. There'll be lots of those sort of refund offers where if your horse finishes, you know, Paddy Power have just announced theirs this morning. So that's if your horse finishes second, third or fourth, you get your money back as a free bet. So these are all of these are sort of, you're back at the bookie, you lay at the exchange. So once you're happy with that, you can just crack on through the rest of the offers. But I mean, again, as Phil mentioned, on the horse racing page, on the Cheltenham page, it will say, these are the main offers. Those are the ones that you should be focusing on. And if you manage to get through all them, you may wish to take a look at the ones further down the list.
You're doing really well, aren't you? Because I know there's obviously there can be a lot of negativity around the offers and stuff, but there's going to be an awful lot of offers. There's going to be enough there to keep anyone busy, isn't there, Phil, during the festival? When you're not going to be short on offers during the whole festival for the 4 days. Sorry.
No, I wouldn't think so. There'll be plenty to do, plenty to get stuck into. I mean, another thing we should mention for beginners is the odds on horses can move rapidly, especially as we approach the off.
Especially in the forecast for next week, if you get a lot of rain and stuff, some horses can change dramatically, can't they, in a very short space of time?
Yeah, and I mean, the closer it gets to the race time, the more they're going to start moving around. So if you're new to horses, try and get your bets on a little bit earlier. It might mean you have to take a bit of a larger qualifying loss, but it'll mean the odds are more stable and you'll be able to get your bets on easier. If you're betting within half an hour of the race, you might find that the odds are moving so much it's difficult to get your lay bet on, but don't panic if that happens. You probably will get matched. You just got to be prepared for the fact that by the time you go to lay your bet, there might be different odds there. So just try and be prepared. Have the calculator open so you can quickly recalculate your bet if you need to.
And Steve, there's a lot of offers in it during Cheltenham. It's covered live on ITV, and their coverage is brilliant. But you need to be aware that not every race is covered. Normally, it's the last two are left off, isn't it? And there are some offers that is just purely the ITV racing. So you need to be, again, reading the offers, don't you, closely, and making sure you land properly on that.
Yeah, and again, this is where the community sort of comes into its own. So at the top of the page, at the start of the sort of horse racing thread for that day, the Cheltenham thread for that day, there will be a grid, a little table. And as Phil said, if you get yourself familiar with how the daily horse racing threads look, at the minute, today and tomorrow in the lead up to Cheltenham, you'll get familiar with it all. But what you'll see on Cheltenham is you'll see all the races listed. You'll see a little TV symbol, which will indicate which races are being shown on the TV. And then next to that, you will have a list of all the bookmakers that have promotions for that particular race. So you just, all the information's there for you. So if you're unsure whether the last race on that particular day has a free bet offer attached, just go to the post in the community and you'll be able to see very clearly on the table whether it's in there or not. And if it's not in there, then don't do it and wait for the next one the next day.
In terms of offers, guys, obviously we're still waiting for some to confirm, aren't we? Any that you particularly like, favourites from last year? I remember I really enjoyed the Betfair ones. That was first and last year. That was always a good way to tee up the next day. Any that catch your eye, Phil? Like I like Coral as well from last year. Any that you're hoping to see again?
Well, I'm always on the lookout for the ones that are refunded cash. That's obviously means you don't have to worry about placing a free bet.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones are refund if you finish second. I mean, sometimes they'll do, I think Paddy, you're doing this again, refund if you finish second, third or fourth. Gives you a really good chance to get a free bet on that one. So yeah, prioritise the ones where you can maximise your chances of getting a free bet for sure.
And I said, and there's a few. William Hill had a good one last year, didn't it, Steve, with the distance one? But I think you mentioned off air, Phil, that we haven't seen that much at all this year. So we're not possibly not expecting to see that one come back.
No, but I imagine there will be something that they sort of
Will Hill are quite strong together. On the festival at times, aren't they?
I mean, it may well be that they bring back just for every race, they may bring back sort of the second place refund offer, something of that ilk, which could be a refund as cash, hopefully. But in terms of there's not much to catch the eye at the minute because there's not a lot announced. However, if it goes sort of the way of the past few years, then yeah, I think what Phil mentioned there with the Paddy Power one, I mean, that's my favourite at the moment because if I pick a horse that I think will win the race, then there's a good chance I'll get the refund because it'll probably finish second, third, or fourth.
It's a cracking one, isn't it? And there's a lot of new bookmakers. But as we say, guys, anyone who sees a bookmaker that we're not familiar with, the offer is on the site and the premium. You should be doing the offer. And you can get used to that website, and the offer will be there again. In terms, obviously, we're talking about bookmaker offers, Steve. There's been a few questions about extra places as well. We've got extra place matcher. Do you and Phil just want to go over that because that is like an almost offer in its own right, isn't it?
Yeah. So during the festival, I mean, again, this is the time, if you're unfamiliar with extra places, this is the time to read the guides. This is the time to take a look at the sort of each way matcher. This is the time to look at the extra places matcher. A lot of the races at Cheltenham the bookies will be very competitive with each other, and there will be races where there aren't many, let's say, free bet offers, i.e., get a refund if you finish second, etc. But there will be races, particularly later in the day, where the bookies are paying lots of extra places on the race. So instead of getting each way for the top 3, you might be getting the top 4, top 5, or some might even push the boat out to 6. And there'll be lots and lots of bookies doing that, which gives people who use the sort of extra places strategies, again, on the site, read the guides, then there'll be opportunities there to hopefully bag some profits. It's well worth it. And if your bankroll is a little deeper than others, then you can also get some sizable stakes on these and increase your profits from there. It's a good thing to keep an eye on.
And the thing as well, Phil, with this festival, it's don't panic, isn't it? It's the offers are there, the money will come to you. Don't rush into last races, make mistakes, isn't it? It's a long week, isn't it, Cheltenham?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with horses, it is a bit more not panicky, but you've got to be a little bit more on the ball with your bets. So it's just best to plan ahead. Like Steve was saying, get the money in the bookies that you're going to be doing. Make sure you've got enough money in your exchange to cover these bets, and just try and be prepared for the offers that you want to do, and then it'll just be another match betting day.
And talking of the exchange, Steve, there's a point you wanted to make, wasn't it, about having the funds in place exchange, or making sure you do in time for the festival, because that is important.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the sort of biggest issues is the exchange balance running out. Obviously, if you keep backing winners, then there's not much you can do about that. However, if you've got a limited, say, pot of money in the exchange, and you're thinking, how can I do the most offers possible, then I would recommend that, for example, you focus on a particular race on a day which has the most offers available. So the best sort of race to attack would be the first race on the first day. So if you back a horse, you lay a horse, you've obviously created some liability there in your exchange. If you then were to go to another bookmaker, would say, so you say you've done Bet365, you've laid the horse, then you go to Paddy Power, you want to do their offer, and maybe the best match is the same horse that you've already just backed at Bet365, but you don't have any further funds available to sell. Don't have any further funds in your exchange to lay against that. So what you want to do is look for another horse in the same race. Hopefully, you want a decent match from it. But when you lay against another horse, it's not the liability isn't compounding on top of one another. It's actually spreading it across the race. So you can end up doing 4 or 5 different horses, all at the sort of, let's say, similar odds, but you're laying them all separately and you're using the same pot of money. So you're £100 exchange balance could potentially cover 3 or 4 offers. So you just work smarter, not harder, and everything. You can cover. Don't do one. The short answer is don't do one lay bet. And if your balance is going to in your exchange, don't think I can't do any more offers. You can, as long as you choose a different horse in the same race.
That's a great tip, isn't it? And that obviously that'll be discussed on the forum at length as well. All the different offers are there, and all the guys are there throughout the festival to answer any issues you've got. Right, guys, I think that just about covers everything for pre-Cheltenham, but just emphasise what Phil and Steve have been saying. Get your practice in. Check the forum. It's always there. I said to get access to the forum, though, you do need the premium service. And as I said at the start of the podcast, if you use the offer code PODOFFER, PODOFFER, you will get 10 full days of OddsMonkey premium for just £1. That'll give you access to all the offers, all the guides, the daily calendar, the racing match. Everything you need for Cheltenham is there for just £1. So please log in and do that. And as we mentioned before, we do have a webinar for beginners, which will be available on the Monday before Cheltenham starts, and so you can sign in for free via the website. It's a free one, but you do have to register, and there'll be a special Q&A about Cheltenham with Steve afterwards. So again, thanks for joining us today, guys, and please have a wonderful Cheltenham using OddsMonkey, and we'll catch you all very soon.